want to stop obsessing over your dismissive avoidant ex? Would you like to feel calm and peaceful so you can focus on your life again? Do you want to know what your obsessions are fueled by and why you can't seem to get rid of them? And have some easy steps you can take to free yourself from this obsession? Then definitely keep watching. Obsessing over an avoidant ex is common. In fact, when you date someone who doesn't give you a lot of information at the end of a relationship about what went wrong or why the relationship ended, or you get little to no communication, it can leave you really fixated on what happened. You end up poring over every little detail. You're replaying the past in your mind, and you're left alone trying to piece together what happened. So why do we obsess over someone who is emotionally distant? Understanding the reason is the first step to stop obsessing over them. Understanding what it is about this dynamic that our mind and heart keeps tugging at helps us to know what we can do about it. Now, if you're someone who has the anxious preoccupied attachment style, or if your relationship has amplified your anxiety, then it's important to note that this attachment style tends to experience more heightened emotions and physiological distress, preoccupation with ex-partners, sometimes drug and alcohol use, and a lost sense of identity. So this is according to an article by Marshall, Bejanyan, and Ferenczi, and I'll cite the article in the description. Now, also taken from the same article, it says that these findings are consistent with John Bowlby's, the founding father of attachment theory, observation that anxious individuals are more susceptible to chronic mourning, to prolonged protest, despair, and continued attachment to the lost partner. Now, anxious individuals' amplified breakup distress has been attributed to their poor coping strategies, maladaptive rumination, heavy reliance on an ex-partner to provide a safe haven, and their tendency to blame themselves for negative events. So with all of that said, the first thing to understand is that people with the anxious attachment style have more of a propensity towards rumination and to obsessive thinking. So you're not the only one who's experiencing this. This is really common with people who struggle with anxiety, specifically relationship anxiety. Now, this, in my view, and coupled with the lack of information that a dismissive avoidant partner can't or won't provide, has the effect of amplifying the anxious partner's rumination and obsession. So for instance, if the anxious partner heavily relies on their partner to provide a sounding board, a safe haven, and on feedback from their partner on how they're doing or what they did wrong, and if that information is deeply connected to their image of themselves, then it would make sense that in the absence of that, the anxious partner's symptoms of brooding, rumination, inability to emotionally regulate, and self-blame is only heightened. So now that we know why we obsess and what it's about, let's get into how we can start to shift from obsessing and ruminating to thinking a lot more clearly and reclaiming our mental and emotional real estate. First, a quick intro. Hi, I'm Katya Morozova. I'm a personal and relationship coach, and I help people overcome heartbreak. I help them understand and heal their relationship patterns using attachment theory. If that sounds helpful to you, then please subscribe to my channel. I'm also the founder of katyamorozova.me, and if you're interested in booking a session with me, you can do so on that website. Now let's talk about the first step to stop obsessing over a dismissive avoidant ex. Often, when we have a prolonged stretch of rumination or obsessing, it can start to really wear away at our sense of control over our minds. This can feel debilitating, and it might even make us feel helpless, or that there's something wrong with us. But the truth is that rumination and hyper-focusing is just a way of coping. It's our brain's way of trying to solve a problem. It's also an adaptive survival strategy used to manage painful emotions. So, ruminating and hyperfocusing doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or that you're going crazy. So instead of thinking that you're going crazy, try to normalize the thoughts that you're having as your brain's way of trying to work something out. How we relate to our challenges, and this is really important, impact their intensity and can either help or hurt something that's already difficult to go through. Managing our relationship to what we're challenged by is one way we can begin to take back control of our minds. The next step is asking yourself how or what questions instead of why. Let me explain. One of the most common questions that show up in my one-on-one practice when working with clients who are trying to get over an avoidant ex is why? Why am I still thinking about this? Why am I not over them? Why won't they reach out to me? Why did I do this or say that? While all questions of self-reflection are valid, not all are created equal. Asking why questions about the past can keep us stuck in a feedback loop. We aren't satisfied with the answers we give ourselves. We don't have access to the other person to get their input, and the input we do have from them doesn't seem to help. This leaves us asking the same questions over and over again, but getting nowhere, and that can be truly exhausting. A better question to ask is what or how? What can I do about this now? How would I like to behave differently in the future? What can I focus on about this situation that could be more empowering? These types of questions lead us out of the looping thought patterns and into more solution-based or a proactive state of mind. That on its own can help to curb those feelings of helplessness that we often feel, especially when we don't have the answers we want after a dismissive avoidant breakup. Now, this last tip might seem like a basic or common tip, but it's really a good one for coping with rumination and hyper-focusing on someone else, and especially if you have limited outlets for your thoughts right now. That means limited people that you could talk to about this. So tip number 3 is journaling. And let me give you some context on why this tip is so important. So we are inherently relational creatures who thrive in environments where there's feedback. Human beings don't thrive in a vacuum. This is especially true of people who have the anxious preoccupied attachment style, who can heavily rely on external processing in their relationships. So journaling is an excellent way to get into relationship with ourselves. In a sense, journaling is a conversation that we have with ourselves, a way to coach ourselves, and a way to break out of the thought loops in our heads and get them out onto paper. Please don't underestimate the power of this simple and easy to implement tip. Journaling can help us slow down. It can give us a way to reflect on what we're thinking in a more constructive way, and it can purge the thoughts that feel especially painful and icky. Now I'd like to hear it from you. Let me know in the comments which of these tips you're going to implement to help you work through the obsessive thoughts about your avoidant ex. Let me know in the comments below. Now, if you really want to go deeper into this topic of how to stop obsessing over your avoidant ex, then I definitely encourage you to stick around to the end of this video for a potential opportunity to do that. If you're looking for more in-depth support on recovering from your breakup, if you not only want to stop the obsessive thinking, but also really come back to yourself, reinvent yourself after your breakup, really interrupt your attachment patterns so that you can really create the love that you want in the future, and also just have a really different relationship to yourself, then I highly recommend that you apply for my program, Recover, Restore, Reconnect. In this program, you will recover from your breakup, you will restore your sense of self and self-worth, and reconnect if it's right. Now, the reconnection is an interesting term to me. You'll not only reconnect to yourself, but as an extension of that, you'll be able to make an empowered choice about if you really want to reconnect with this person. And of course, I can give you some practical tips and tools if you do decide to do that on how you may go about doing that. So if that sounds like it's up your alley, again, it's a 3-month coaching container with you and I working together one-on-one. You can apply for that in the, again, the comments or in the description below. Would you like me to go deeper into this topic of how to stop obsessing over an avoidant ex? Would you like to have more tools and exercises to do so that you can take them with you and use them on your own time? Well, I'm thinking about doing a class on this topic of how to stop obsessing over an avoidant ex. And I wanted to see if you would give me your input, if you would like me to host this kind of class. In return for your input, I would like to offer you 25% off of the class price. And just for 1 minute of your time. So basically, I would just need your name, your email address, a yes or no if you'd be interested in a class like this, and what you'd like to learn on this specific topic of how to stop obsessing over an avoidant ex. Once you submit that and I host that class, I will send you a code for where you could get 25% off of the class that I end up hosting. So if that sounds great to you, then definitely let me know in the comments. The survey, again, is only going to take about a minute or less. Did you like this video? If you did, please like and subscribe for more videos on attachment theory and heartbreak recovery. Next up is my video on the anxious preoccupied attachment and how the AP partner can unconsciously push partners away. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I really hope to see you on the next one.